Eclipse. And look at that, immediately into kind of a poaching zone look. A nice cut underneath.
This main stadium field, all of that energy can be a little bit extra to deal with on these big games.
A lot of big fakes there from Emily Hall, and just a miscue, maybe trying to fire across the middle there to Anna Roberts, but she cannot get to that disc. So a turn back the other way. Inside, bobbled, but kept alive there by Kim Dorr. Now a bullet fired right in front of the end zone. Portland knocking on the door. Big around to Watoga. Still another bobble. Now a flick inside there for the score. Open us up, uproar.
Yeah, and that is a break to start, because we saw Watoga with that big pull to start it off. A little bit uncertain, some turns, some first throw errors, some miscues, but really that Portland defensive line putting on an offensive showcase at the end, making completions and getting that first score. You can see here the turns that we have a little bit, just an error, a miscue, no player in the vicinity.
Now, Katie, early on, do you think that first point was just nerves for both sides? I mean, you just saw routine throws that they were making in warm-ups earlier, just not completed.
I don't know. I mean, we haven't seen the Division III quarterfinals were handily decided, at least in the case of Carleton. They may not have been tested in the same way, and they may be used to getting the disc back after a turn. Portland, however, is not willing to give them an easy thing. We see Watoga back on the field for this pull about to come up. We'll see how these two sides go. I think it's hard to make any definitive calls about what's happening or what's going on after 1 point of a game.
So Watoga going to start us off again here for the pull. Uproar able to go up 1-0 there on the break early on. Let's take a second look here at this Eclipse O-line. See the disc centered, moved over there to Emily Hall. Hall, big fake, sells it, then an around flick, two Eclipse players in the area, but finally caught there by Laura Kiernan. And around backhand back to the center is Brooks Kahn. That one just a little too high, out of the reach there of number 22, Grace Haig. So back the other way we go. Outside, that one just out of the reach of Juliana Gillian. Hall sells a fake, back to the center. So far, just nothing down the field here for both teams. They're going to shoot deep once again, and they got macked right there to number 28, Dana Freed, and now she's right there on the end line. And a big-time D stepping up into the passing lane. Now Watoga shoots deep. This one in space, going to have to run onto it. And
no one else close by.
Dorr, excellent speed there. Watoga with the touch. Oh, and that disc going out of Dorr's hands. I'm not sure if a call is going to be made.
It doesn't seem so. It looks like a turn. That person is just there ready to set up. That's an unfortunate bobble and drop there.
Yeah, an unforced error there for Dorr. She's going to want that one back, especially the momentum. Seemed like it was in Uproar's hands. So back the other way we go here with Eclipse. Disc here with Haig. Centers to Hall. Hall getting bailed out big time there by Brooks Kahn. Keeping it alive there for Eclipse. So far, excellent patience here from Eclipse. Selling the fakes, now firing a deep shot, and that one is denied there by Kristen Labar.
Yeah, that was a really heads-up defensive play there, giving Portland another chance at this break.
Watoka shoots. That one in the area. Hall with 2 hands denies it the other way. So a long and just tedious point here and grueling by both sides. A big fake around, a backhand into space. A lot of float, just too far out in front of Claire James.
Yeah, we've seen in some recaps that these teams have a tendency to have a lot of turns early in the point. If this continues, it's really going to be all about the team who can out-tenacity the other team, the team with more grit, willing to keep trying for those end zones, or the team who finally gets end zone efficiency, that falling out of the hands of the receiver, just not able to make that trailing edge grab.
Yeah, Dorr was looking to shoot deep there for Kruger, and Kruger got 2 hands on it, just kind of chopped it and slipped right out of her hand. So once again, back to Eclipse. And as Katie said, this is all about grit here in this point, a very long point for both sides. Looking for a dump, a nice reset cut back to the middle there from Brooks Kahn. Surveying, a cut out of the way, but just slipping through the hands. They have James going back to Portland. Portland looking to clean up. Opportunity here to break once again. An outside flick just too far out in front of Dorr.
The other thing to recognize is both of these teams have relatively small overall roster sizes. So they've played many games in this tournament, and so you'll see players, especially in long points like this, just start to look fatigued, and maybe extra fatigued because of the small number of players, but really working hard in this point. Like we said, it's going to be grit. We have Watoka picking up again.
Gillian there with the hand block. That one sent inside, and we're waiting on the signal, and a kick spike to celebrate 2-0 Portland. 2 straight breaks.
That's exactly the start that Portland would want to get off to. We see them excitedly celebrating the score. You can see there that every single Portland player on the field, and still not quite filling the frame of the camera.
So just like that, 2-0. We show you the replay. And just a grueling point here for both sides. I mean, long point, you know, you've played all weekend. You got to be exhausted, but it feels good to kick spike that disc there for Galian. Has her team up 2-0 here early on in the semifinal.
Yeah, we have a timeout coming. I'm pretty sure that this one was called by Carleton coaches, wanting to give their team a breather, especially after that long point with a short roster, and wanting to resettle. We've seen really intense pressure from Portland. They're doing a good job of staying tight on the resets and also clogging up the lane. So with that kind of play, I think that the Carleton Eclipse players are going to want to talk about how to combat that specific type of defense, because if you can't reset the disc and reset that stall count, you run out of time very quickly. It's amazing how sometimes 10 seconds can feel so short, and sometimes it can feel so long.
Exactly, and that's another great point to make, as well as the wind has slightly picked up just a tad bit. I'm not sure if that has an overall effect on some of these deep throws, but it's probably affected them just a little bit. So you've seen early on.
I feel like calling it a wind is a strong word for the amount of airflow that we're experiencing. It's a breeze, the idea of a wind, maybe just enough to cool you off in this bright sunshine, but maybe not enough to affect those throws yet. I think it's more the fatigue that's setting in, the focus through the entire point, through running on offense, on defense, on offense, on defense, on offense, on defense, all of that back and forth to be able to continue to make those catches or to execute those throws. I think it's much more players than elements that are getting in these players' way. But again, only 2 points into this game.
It's early on in this one, a lot of time here for Eclipse to make a statement of their own, but It's got to feel really good here for Portland. 2 straight breaks early on. So Eclipse looking to shoot immediately deep. Watoka in the area, helping out, gets the D for her squad. Up ahead here to Door. Door unleashes a flick right into the hands there of Galeon, and Galeon fires up ahead, and finishing off is Julia Hanley. 3-0 Portland.
Portland is absolutely fired up. That timeout did not go Carleton's way. They, again, get beat on a really great defensive play, which I hope we get to see again coming up here. But we're looking at the score instead. Galleon bringing it in and immediately firing a dagger to the end zone. Such efficiency after that turn, which is a nice surprise compared to the last point, which had many back and forth turns.
Yeah, it seemed like in that point for Portland, they had a sense of urgency as soon as they got that turn. Just continued it up the line there across the field and found the end zone. And that's got to be a little discouraging here if you're Carleton College Eclipse. Your O-line has been broken 3 straight times in a row. Do you change anything up offensively?
I mean, throw it to your teammates? Make it easier? I don't know that there's anything to change, but maybe a little bit more concentration on moving the disc earlier in the stall count. I think it's easy to look to try to find the right movement, but resetting that stall count, really valuable for these teams and really gets you in a move and a groove with your teammates, getting to move the disc down the field. I'd like to see Carleton just move the disc a little bit more instead of trying to punch it deep.
That one immediately shot deep into the fray. Some contact there, and I believe a foul will be called. It's like Milligan there in the fray, along with Julia Hanley.
Yeah, so a couple of options here.
Hey, y'all, can we have a stall count?
You can send it back and go to the observer, and I can do a ruling for you. And you can ask any rules questions.
Okay,
Okay.
Because they were just both going for it.
Sure.
They both hit it, and
You get the same options.
I can test your defense.
Would you like to send it back or go to the observer?
Let's do it.
Okay, the observer ruling is it was a foul. As she was going for the disc, you actually pulled her arm down. So it'll be her disc on 1.
See the ruling there from the observer. Great sportsmanship there by both teams.
Yeah, helpful from the observers there to give the players their options and then those players respectfully talking through what happened. It's one of the things I appreciate about this sport. We're going to get another look at this play. Big throw going up here. Yeah, and a lot of contact on that reception.
So it's really our first time of seeing Eclipse kind of near this front end zone line, looking to attack here in the last final third. Disc there with Barton. Barton up ahead, and another contact play, but it's going to be in for the score. You see a nice spike there by Milligan, and finally Carleton College is on the board.
Yeah, again, we'll get another look at that, I think, on the replay. Again, going to Colleen Milligan, the player who was involved in that big catch earlier with those small buns on the top of her head, looking absolutely delighted with that score. Rightly so, because this is a high-pressure catch right there on the end zone line. The observer ruling that she caught it inbounds and then being forced out by that defensive pressure. Both players going down hard. I think I might like to see a little bit less of that player coming through Milligan's back from behind the player in terms of safety, from a safety standpoint. But otherwise, we were expecting a game that was a little bit closer, and this point is certainly there. Portland with very strong defensive pressure, but in this case, Carleton Eclipse weathering the Portland storm right there.
Yeah, they weathering the storm, but this time we get to see the offense here of Portland for the first time. Get to see that O-line go to action now, kind of add on to their lead. I mean, that's got to be so reassuring, Katie, when you have your D-line come out and start with 3 straight breaks to begin the game.
It is very satisfying to pad your game a little bit like that. We can see that Captain Jacqueline Watoka again on the field for this O-line.
See the disc immediately picked up by Labar into Watoka. Door. And taking just a difficult angle there. That one was bound for the ground, and it was a turn. A disc put up, a jump disc. Not able to handle it. There was Lena Nyblade. Birchinall will pick it up. There for Uproar here on the near sideline. There's Dorr. Dorr has had the green light all day here today to fire things. And a turnover there for Dorr. Going the other way, Eclipse with an opportunity.
If that soccer line was the end zone, that would have been a Callahan. Great defensive bid to get possession there for Carleton.
Newell swinging around. Good reach there by Leon Getton. Now going to shoot deep. This one the frame, but Watoka is easily there to intercept, and then immediately going to send down the field right to the hands of Gallion. And Gallion sends it deep for Dorr. Dorr turning on the Jets and is there in time. Portland 4, Carleton College 1.
Yeah, that was a absolute trust throw from Watoka to Gallion. Gallion. I can't imagine. That was a blade. It was an absolute blade. That player knew exactly where it was coming down. Clearly, they've made this before. You can see on this reception a very tight disc, almost over the head of Gallion. Calmly puts it, and then Dorr streaking deep, outrunning that defender to calmly clap catch it in the end zone. I mean, a 2-throw score on defense. Or I guess that was the offensive line, right? They caused the turn, they played great defense, and then got it back, which is essentially a hold then for Portland. But that is efficient offense going the other direction.
And they're looking crisp. I mean, Dorr has been playing both sides. Watoka has been playing both sides. They have been balling out here in these early onset of these points and really showing just the prowess of Portland Uproar.
Absolutely. So we said that the roster size was pretty small. Portland Uproar only bringing 15 players. So we are saying players playing both directions as if the team had an army of subs, but they don't in fact have that many other players to come in. So these players have been playing many, many points all weekend long. It's really impressive to see the chemistry that they've built.
Portland early on here with a 3-point advantage. See the disc pulled there by Labar. Picked up by Alex Rowell. Now an upline cut. That one just into the dirt, too low. Now Portland looking to force the issue. Nothing down the field though, lockdown defense so far by Eclipse. And just taking her eyes off the disc there was Gallion. Nice inside flick there by Rowell. Working it down the line. Nice high release flick there to the middle. Working it, not able to secure the disc as Claire James will be going back the other way.
Oh, that's got to be frustrating. You know she felt the breath of the disc on her fingertips but couldn't reel it in.
So opportunity here for Portland. Thought about shooting it deep. Labar shakes loose. Down the far sideline, and a run through D there by Brooks Kahn. Brooks Kahn, she'll pick up the disc. Centered there, Rao. Rao, a beautiful inside break. And now shot through the middle. This one on a platter just too far in front.
That's a really difficult angle to read and throw to. I was just going to give these Carleton players a compliment, saying that they were doing a good job of moving the disc and throwing to easy options, but that one just getting away from them.
Labar needs a reset, an outlet, just fires one out and in space, but there to secure the disc and get the D is Brooks Kahn. And a big around by Rowell. Back to Rowell in the center. Rowell, pretty flick into the middle. Eclipse knocking on that doorstep. Up ahead for Rowell, but two uproar players are there in the space for a D. So Katie, another grueling point here for both sides.
Yeah, I'd like to see a little bit more end zone efficiency from their teams, just from their sake. I hate watching them have to run all of these extra miles on this field. Big huck going up and just too far out of the reach of those defender or that receiver. Running straight away from the disc. It might be hard to see from this angle, but it's so hard to read when a disc is coming directly over your head.
Now Rowell puts up a shot of their own, and that one is caught in bounds with the power slide. Working it down the sideline now, our Eclipse. Thought about shooting deep there is Brooks Kahn.
Good to get it off the line.
Rowell, a big time around and kept alive in bounds there by Barton. Very close to a run through D. Once again, knocking on the doorstep of the end zone, our Eclipse. Running out of options, needs a reset. Brooks Kahn with the disc. She settles for a blade floating in the area, and coming there for the D is Mallory Body.
Yeah, just not enough cuts from that end zone set, stranding the handlers with few options. Handlers maybe want to take the resets and move instead of waiting for their cutters to get open. Their cutters who have played exceptional defense today. We can see a timeout has been called in this point, and I think both teams are happy about that. They look like they could use some water.
Yeah, veteran call there by Labar. The graduate student knows her team and needed a timeout. And what an excellent place to call it right there. Early stall count, knowing that, hey, it's been 5 or 6 turns back and forth. It's a long, grueling point for both sides.
Yeah, I haven't been keeping track of the actual turns. I think it might hurt my heart to count that high.
Yeah, it really has not been pretty at this point. And I think this timeout may, settle things down, and they will probably execute better coming out of this timeout.
Yeah, I mean, most of these are, I would say, decision errors turns as opposed to lack of ability. We're seeing players just get tired and try to make the throws happen, make the plays happen with their throws instead of making the plays happen with their legs. And I think that whichever team can marry their effort with their execution is going to be the team ahead. Currently, Portland is up 4-1, and they are picking up the disc. This would be another break for them if they can march it all the way down this field. It looks like they're setting up in a side stack. Interesting.
Looks like Labar here with the disc. An immediate shot deep. This one put up and secured there by Body. And Body trying to swing it back to Labar, and that one gets D'd.
That might be the third D that they've gotten in this point.
Just, the set play worked to perfection, but we weren't able to execute after set play. Now an immediate shot deep, Labar in the area, and she's able to secure the D for her squad. So at the end of this one, it's going to come down to grit. Labar uncorks one and just misread there by McManus.
And now now Carleton will pick up. They have the entire 70 to go the other way. I think if Portland can get a stop here, they might have an easy score.
See the cuts underneath there to the far sideline, and a turn. Not able to reel in. That catch is Kiernan. So Labar picks up far sideline. Up ahead and a run through D there for Nyblade. And shot up ahead, caught and secured. Eclipse looking to run down the field and punch one in.
Milligan putting work in this point, again pointing deep towards the end zone, looking for her teammates to throw it to her. She is ready to score deep.
Rowell up the line. There to Brooks Kahn, now inside flick. Getting closer on Eclipse. Into Rowell. A little dump off Rowell with the upline cut. A hammer cross field floating in the space. A collision and a foul will be called.
Yeah, that player gesturing to say, as if you ran into me and I was standing
at
here.
the spot of the foul, so you can go ahead and pick it up.
So it looks like a no contest. Disc will be with Nyblade.
Sure. White, it's your check when you're ready, saying one.
Nyblade with the disc right in front of the end line. Needs a connection and swatted down, but in the area laying out. Not able to get underneath. Another turn here in this point.
Yeah, just not the end zone efficiency that Carleton team would like to have seen there.
It's maybe one of the longest points I've seen this weekend, and then a miscommunication there between Uproar teammates sends that one out of bounds. So back we go. Eclipse now with an opportunity about 20 yards out from the end zone. Big around.
You can see that stack just isn't moving, not very many options.
And that one secured with the toe tap in. An upline cut down the line, laying out. And finally, we have that much needed point for Eclipse. A long point finally capped off with a beautiful layout bid.
Woo, that was I think closer and a lot more effort than that hold from Carleton would have liked. We can see just these players making such excellent plays with their body to try to preserve their possession, really trying to get their points. These players want to play. They're out here to play this game, but unfortunately they're just not making it very easy for themselves.
Yeah, it's been a little bit tougher, especially it's the fundamental things, throwing, catching, running through the disc. It's been a little bit tougher here in that long point, and you've got to wonder if fatigue is a factor.
Yeah, you can see some of the highlights from this where you see players really laying out all over the place. Big grabs to get up. Such awareness there from Milligan to keep the disc in bounds. Directing traffic, telling her teammate exactly where she wants to go, diving into the end zone to get that score. Finally, that was Captain Harper Brooks Kahn with the score from Milligan, who is the first scorer from Carleton. Milligan all over this scoreboard, but really still down a break in this game.
Yeah, if you're the D-line of Upper, you're doing your job. You're making the offense of Eclipse work extremely hard in this game. So that disc out of bounds. Be brought to the brick mark. Taken by Watoka. Looks like a zone will be ushered in by Eclipse. Floaty throw over the top into Door. And Door immediately sending one across, and that's what Eclipse wanted in that zone.
Ooh, almost a D back there.
Swing over in the middle. The Hall on the disc. Hall will send a floaty throw over the top. Door in the space, racing back to make the D.
Door, such a clean D, just getting higher than that receiver, but oh, maybe not that intended recipient, but making that connection anyway. Portland still retains possession, and it looks like Carleton has again set that zone.
Yeah, they're deep in that cup, trying to force it through the middle. Watoka's got to sell a lot of those fakes. So trying to get some poppers in. Just slowly inching their way up the field. Here's Uproar. Finally getting it around the cup, working around, but straight to the hands there of Roberts. Hall directing traffic. She needs an outlet. Hall's gonna elect to shoot deep. This one in the space and getting the grab with the right hand. What a play.
That was such a great grab by number 22, Grace Haig, on that reception. I didn't think they were going to catch that. That was an absolutely brilliant job of tracking that disc and catching it almost offhand, far side, trailing edge.
Yeah, that looked like almost a bailout, just, hey, I'm gonna put this up for one of my players to go and get, and Haig just following through, never giving up on the play, and textbook layout there in the end zone.
And that's exactly what Carleton wanted to do. That's a break for them to bring this one closer, using that possession much more efficiently, even though that was a high stall bailout throw. That player making their team's effort worth it and converting that break. I think that that's much more what we need to see Carleton do in this game. They can't afford, right, in this semifinal round to play a lot of extra points, play a lot of extra possessions. They want to come back in this game, right, as the 2 seed in this tournament and prove that they can beat this number 3 seeded Portland defense.
So if you're just tuning into this one, you've been watching the D3 women's semifinal here between Portland Uproar, Carleton College Eclipse. Portland Uproar up 4-3 here early on. Collision there in the middle. Want to make sure everyone's all right, and both players seem to be just fine. And Watoka instantaneously sending it deep.
Again to Gallion, who puts it out to space. Her Door, who points to the spot. That is a combination we've seen before. That 2-throw offensive efficiency is great for Portland as they hold on that possession.
Yeah, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. That combination right there with Watoka, just the vision down the field to find her open teammates. And then Door has got wheels for days for this Uproar team. She has been moving as soon as there's an open power position throw.
Yeah, big throw goes up. You can see it here. Gallion tracking it down and puts it out to space beyond that defender. In that particular angle, you can't see Door emphatically pointing, but before that, Door absolutely called their shot. Gesturing there, you can see it where you can get just beyond that defender. Really efficient offense from this Portland team. That's what we want to see. All of these back and forths, all these players putting so much effort out. It's nice for them to get a block hold, and then they have another chance at this D. Previously on defense, we've seen them play a really poachy option, right? Taking up space in the lane, not honestly marking another player, but trying to take that space, make the handlers think about it. It seemed to kind of stymie Carleton. They were struggling with it and holding the disc a long time. We'll see if they throw it again.
See the pull there from Watoka. That one center there in the middle. Brooks Kahn.
Yeah, we can see them poaching off the handlers. A high stall hook goes up.
And caught down the field there by Claire James. James needs an outlet and an upline cut. Not in there for Eclipse.
Swarming defenders creating chaos there. Let's see if they can convert.
And inside there for Brooks Kahn, the score. Carleton back within one.
I mean, I like that look from Portland. They're poaching the lanes, making it really difficult for handlers to move the disc upfield at all. That is just a great reception by that player. If they're going to play that defense, they might need to play a little bit tighter on those upfield receivers. But I think that their team is getting chances at those blocks. Just a really exceptional reception there by the Portland player, or by the Carleton player.
Yeah, it's just a tough look there for Portland. Poaching in the lane, gave up an open, just deep huck in the space in the backfield, and there's nothing you can do about that if you're Portland, unless you have someone back deep that can kind of play that free safety role. So we're going to talk things out here on the lines.
Yeah, we're seeing a bit of a newer line here. Not as many of those same returning faces on this Carleton O-line. But we do have we have almost exactly the same D-line with Dorr and Watoka taking up this defensive mantle for the Portland team.
So it looks like it's Hall there to send it deep on the pull. That one blading will stay inbounds.
Observer signals out of bounds. Yeah, and that player is going to center it. It looks like we might get a zone look from this Carleton team. A blessing for Portland because they'll get a chance to think about it before this disc comes back in.
It's put inside now, back out. Immediately working down the line or upward. Gallion sends one up. It's floating in the area. Who will come down with it? And for the score, there is Julia Hanley confidently with two hands.
This has been a really stat-heavy game for Gallion with 4 assists so far, and I think catching one of the first scores for Portland. This is a line that is loving the opportunity to get breaks.
They have been playing lights out in this one. Gallion has just had it going on here for her squad, and look at that catch, reading it well there for Hanley.
I'm not totally convinced that throw was for Hanley. I think it was for number 17 there. But Hanley reading the disc and supporting that. We always, as coaches, I always say follow the throw, follow the play, because you never know what's going to happen, and having a second player in the vicinity certainly helping Portland punch that score in.
So 6-4 the score now, with Uproar up over Carleton College.
Yeah, Portland is up 1 break. Carleton needs a hold here to keep it tight.
Watoka once again here on the pull for Portland. Watoka maybe pulling up a little.
No, I think that she was realizing that she was going to be out of offsides, the observers signaling, and Carleton choosing to play the disc anyway.
Working the disc around, Rowell. having trouble, needing a reset. That one is put down the sideline. Big around Rowell now on the disc. They sell a myriad of fakes, then put one down the line, laying out full extension. Oh my goodness, what a bid.
Was that Haig again? Number 22, Grace Haig, one of the captains of this Carleton team, laying out for an absolutely exceptional grab in the end zone again. That's the second time we've seen that player make a play like that.
Yeah, you see Rowell just putting it up there for her
Maybe
teammate.
a little bit too far. Nope. Absolutely great grab. Defender can't make a safe play on it.
Yeah, looked like Haig had extendo arms there, like Inspector Gadget. Once again, just laying out full extension, getting her the reach of her arms on the disc. It's going to be another one for Haig's highlight reel here in this tournament.
Yeah, observer confirming with us that Portland was offside in that last point. If there are multiple offsides, there will probably be yardage penalties. We want all of the players who are on the pulling team to be behind the field of play. We have 4 observers on this field making sure that they are doing that. Our observer is this whole tournament doing a really great job of calmly explaining rules and helping players move the games along.
Yeah, they've been very quick in their decision making, which has helped and allowed for smooth gameplay. Into Watoga. Swung across there for Birchinall. Now Dorr sends one deep up to Hanley. Hanley racing towards it, secures it, but now having to get back out of the end zone. Now up and laying out for the D. What a play there for Eclipse.
And that's the second play we've seen from Portland where they get a big block and just aren't able to reset the disc outside their own end zone. A high stall count forcing a bad throw. Haig retains possession.
Eclipse here on the far sideline, looking to center. Still working the disc there on the far sideline. Needing a reset back to the middle there, Brooks Kahn. Pivots around. Nothing down the field here for Eclipse. Needing a reset back into the middle. And now immediately sent up into the fray, catching it. There is Dana Freed. Freed up the line there for Brooks Kahn, and a much needed score there for Eclipse.
Yeah, that's I believe a break back for Carleton's squad. Captain Brooks Kahn making that upline cut to make that score look easy, but doing work all over the field. It looks like maybe a timeout or a break being taken by Portland after Carleton brings it back to being even. You can see the throw for the score there, and that's your captain, Harper Brooks Kahn, with the score being celebrated by her teammate. We're seeing a little bit more life in both of these squads as we've gotten into this game. We had those long points, many turnovers. We're now seeing a little bit better execution from both teams as they settle into this game.
I mean, what was once a 3-point advantage here for Portland. They were up 3-0 early on in this one. It's tied at 6 apiece, and that just goes to show you Ultimate is a game of runs, and it's all about momentum and energy. And right now, the Eclipse of Carleton College have got it going on.
Absolutely. I mean, this is the semifinal. This is for a shot to the final at the national championship of D3 Women's College Ultimate here in Norco, California. You can't leave it out on the field. There is no tomorrow. There's both of these teams playing for each other and their programs, and I think that both teams are probably excited to be at this point 6-6 in the first half. I thought it was going to be a bit of a blowout there at the beginning, but Carleton has proved me wrong by clawing back into this game with some smart play and some really great grabs. Both of these teams high-flying ultimate.
Now, if you're Portland, what are you telling your team here in the game in which you were once up by 3? You're just telling them to calm down, maybe?
If I was Portland, I would say their issue is not necessarily calming down. It's when you get the disc outside of the end zone, you go into your end zone set. You need to reset the disc. They're not doing a good job of giving that player who's caught the disc outside of the end zone space, and they're running out of time. So they need to just get a fresh stall count, and then they've proven that they can run their end zone. They just need to actually get into it. Simple. It's simple stuff here at Ultimate. You don't need to do anything complicated.
It's a great point. Just relax, get into your end zone set. Do the things you practice all the time.
Yeah, or that you did, in the previous points.
Yeah. Be centered. Taking some yardage now. A little bit of crowding in the backfield in the handler set. Watoka trying to direct traffic into Door. And Gallion shoots deep. The Door pump fakes. Watoka wants it up the line. She'll get it. A lot of fakes here from Watoka trying to switch up the mark. Now up ahead, that one will be punched in there by Mallory Bodie. Breaks us from even 7-6 Portland.
It is getting closer. You can also maybe feel the pressure start to ramp up. Both of these teams just being happy to play in this game, finding their feet, a lot of turnovers. Now we've seen some efficiency. And as we're getting later and later into this half, I think these players are starting to feel a little bit more pressure to retain position, to retain possession, to score. And really, I think we're going to see, I hope we don't, but I think we're going to see some fatigue play into this game, because especially on the Portland side, you see players playing. I think there's maybe one point I can remember that Watoka was not on the field.
So let's see if fatigue comes into play. This is an opportunity to play for it all. Going to that national final here.
Yeah, we can see a similar O-line out here for the Carleton-Eclipse team. Captains on the line, ready to play. But this is really for Portland. If they can get a break here, they will take it to half with an 8-6 lead, a break up on Carleton, which is exactly what they want to do. So it's important for them here to put on a strong defensive showing and stop the flow of Carleton-Eclipse.
Togo. Nice pull, a lot of hang time. Received there by Rowell. Rowell thought about shooting it deep. A nice flick in the middle, but running through is Gallion. Labar with the disc. Inside there for Dorr. Dorr needing an option. And running through the other end there with the layout D is Roberts. Back-to-back turns, and Dorr out of nowhere. Both teams just laying it out on the line. See Lab here with the disc. Needing some help. Into Labar. Into Dorr. Outside, just too far out in front of Gallion.
I don't know what either team is looking at. I'm seeing open resets, and they're just not taking them. They're making it so hard on themselves by throwing to tightly covered receivers upfield.
So they swing into the middle of Brooks-Con. Back to Rowell.
Good. Keep using your resets.
And around they go. Kept inbounds. Hanley here on the mark. Still working the disc around. Brooks-Con trying to free up. Into the middle. Carlton doing a better job of staying patient. And as soon as I say that, the announcer's
Commentator's curse, my friend.
always strikes its ugly head here. Babar. And just a little bit of miscommunication.
Through Galleon's hands there. Oh no, I may have spoken too soon about their efficiency. This point meaning something, and yet a timeout, time to reset, exactly. Veteran call there by number 7, Emily Hall.
Smart decision making right there. You realize, hey, your team is down 1. This is a much needed point to even up the game before half. And it's been a long point. Several turns back and forth, and you've been running.
Yeah, I mean, it hasn't been that long of a point. There just have been very many turns in quick succession, not many completions in this, really trying to make their lives hard. I think each team could do a little bit better of what we call giving and going, so hitting the reset and then running upfield to gain yards. Currently, Portland, when they have the disc, are looking for long shots almost without willing to, clearly they're giving them the unders and they're just not taking them. Portland has the opportunity to show some efficiency and poise here. They're about 2/3 of the way from their own end zone, looking to have a strong hold here to keep them in this half and tie it up at 7s.
So looks like it would be Emily Hall there on the disc.
That horn you heard in the background is in fact a halftime cap. So if a game has not yet reached halftime, after this point, it will be after that point. But I think that given we're very close to halftime, we'll probably not need that.
And that disc immediately put up. Galleon in the fray, and it's caught over the top there by Kiernan. And Kiernan having to step out of the end zone. Good swing around Rowell. An inside flick, and Tor has been playing lights out defensively. Now unleashes a deep backhand. Watoka looking to box out, and she does just that. And a timeout called by Watoka. And they shouldn't have one more timeout this half.
And add 3 to it. So what was the stall?
They may.
So we're going to go to stall 6.
Okay.
Stall 6? No, stall 6.
I guess they do not
Oh,
have
wait,
a
did you?
timeout
Yes,
remaining
stall
this
6.
half.
Yes, so the rule is if you call a timeout without having a timeout, in this case, Portland having used both of theirs in this half, you will add 3 to the stall count, and if it comes over 10, unfortunately, then it's a turn. Portland retaining possession. Watoka up line, just outside the end zone, knocking on the door, and throws it to door right there. A very big break for Portland to take it to half.
That was much needed there for Portland. I mean, like you said, just turns back and forth. The wherewithal there from Watoka and Dorr to kind of take it upon themselves. Hey, we need to get this point. And they did just that.
Yeah, that is a great bookends actually for Dorr. Dorr getting that really heads-up block in the end zone and then getting the score to Watoka. That's a give and go, just like I said that they should do. Dorr finally with the score, the little dunk, and the celebration from Portland. What an exciting end to that half. This game very close in this D3 women's semifinal.
Yeah, just a tale of almost different quarters of that half. Early on, looked like it was going to be a blowout, 3-0 Portland, and then slowly battling their way back was Carleton College, tying us up there at 6 apiece, and then just edging out there in a little bit there in that first half was Portland.
Yeah, both teams getting some much needed shade in this halftime break.
show you some highlights there of the first half. Defense both ways, layout bids, full extension grabs. It's been an excellent show here in this first half as Portland is up 8-6 here in the D3 women's semifinal over Carleton College. And we'll be back shortly here on Ulti-World with more coverage here of the D3 women's semifinal.
What would it look like if a competitive sport didn't mean a choice? Between beauty and brutality, style and steel. Between calling yourself out and clawing to stay in. What if there was a game that found balance? Between spirit and sport, agony and elation, like a disc dancing on air.
We now have evolved into a team sport of a game called Ultimate.
It stands by itself in that it is like no other game.
Between perfect passes and devastating drops, like the balance we so desperately needed, we had no choice but to create it ourselves. Long live grit and grace. Long live Ultimate.
Ulti-World's live streaming coverage of the 2021 College Championships is presented in part by AGW Ultimate. You can find them at agwultimate.com, and they want to remind you, just say no to Big Ultimate.
And welcome back here to Norco, California here for the D3 women's semifinal matchup between Portland Uproar and Carleton College Eclipse. Uproar up 8-6 here. Joined with Katie Killebrew, I'm Ada Kaliande. Katie, in that first half, it was just a tale of Portland really turning it on, but just turnovers back and forth between both sides.
Yeah, we were talking during the break, both teams having over 25 turnovers in this game. And I think that it's a testament to both of the grit of both of these teams to keep running, even though you're back and forth, each of these points dragging on. We hit halftime cap just before this halftime break. And that's just, it's been a lot of long points. I was saying it doesn't feel like a game that's very close, but Portland only up one break over Eclipse. Eclipse has a lot of experience on this line. Both of their captains, Alex Rowell and Harper Brooks-Kahn, on that line doing great work, as well as Grace Haig making some great grabs. The captain's really anchoring this Carleton squad. We'll have to see if they can have a little bit more poise to get that break back in this second half. We see Haig on the line again for this thing. Haig has had some really exceptional highlight level layout grabs to retain possession for her team in this. Who are you looking forward to watching in this second half?
I'm looking forward to watching Dora here for Portland Uproar. She has been a pivotal cog in this engine right here of Uproar throughout. I mean, cutting defensively, been able to shoot and throw down the field. So I'm looking for her to do a little bit more of it all here in the second half.
Yeah, that pull sailing out of bounds. Dora is a player that we saw get 2 poach blocks in that last point. Really great field awareness and always gunning for the end zone. Dora wants to score.
So picking up the disc now will be Kristen Labar.
Yeah, Watoka doing a little dance on the sideline. We saw her before this game started stretching on the end line. end zone line. She is a player who likes to dance and have a lot of fun.
Matoka around, and just a miscommunication. Matoka sending that over Turk's head.
And this could be the immediate break back that Carleton wants.
And shot deep down the sideline, but too far out of the reach. And just for good measure, there, Maui Body will put it down.
Yeah, I think that was intended for Haig, but Haig just not going deep, overplayed there on that one break chance they've had so far.
Labar
in his own look.
A nice cup, trying to force the disc there in the middle. Matoka now unleashes a backhand. This is a dangerous spot, but just way too out in front of her cutter.
Yeah, I think that was more a bailout throw deep in her own end zone. You have to turn it. You can't give Carleton a short field. Now Carleton has to work at about 50 yards in order to try to score.
Flick down the sideline and just taking her eyes off of that one, trying to move upfield. Now Labar unleashes a backhand. Dorr racing towards the end zone, and that's all she knows is how to score here for this Uproar team.
Yeah, again, I think that was not a throw thrown to the intended receiver. I think that was thrown to Gallion in the straightaway, but Dorr putting on the jets in order to help her teammate out and make that score. Big backhand goes up. You can see going to Gallion, and then Dorr rushes into the vicinity to make that decisive score and hold coming out of half for Portland. Oh, that's got to hurt for the Eclipse team. They had a chance. They had two chances there to punch in that break that they so desperately need. Both of them squandered, and Portland holds and now has a chance to put their D-line back on the field.
Yeah, Dorr has been phenomenal here for the Uproar squad, and that has propelled her team to a 3-point advantage here, 9-6 here in the second half.
Yeah, we can see those players calling out their matchups. We've seen them mostly playing a person poachy defense that still is very hard for Eclipse to get any sort of momentum against.
Looks like it will be Watoka once again to send this one deep here for the pull.
Yeah, right up the observer counting down. They were almost out of time.
Into Rowell. Carving up yardage now, our Eclipse. There's the easy reset. Electing to take it there, the Rowell. Into Hall. Back in the middle to Leon Gettin. Needing some help and swat down with authority by McKaylee Kruger. Lap floats it up ahead, but Watoka trying to catch it, but great help side defense there from Anna Roberts.
Yeah, just a missed throw there, and immediately aiming for the end zone and over the player's head. Unfortunate, because that would have been a quick score that Eclipse needed. Again, on defense, again, Portland on their own end zone line having to go 70 yards. These cutters very deep, far away from the thrower at the moment.
Slipping there was Gallion. Hope she is all right. Secured by Kruger. Kruger selling some fakes, needs some help.
I bought those fakes.
Put them up to Gallion. Now Watoka trying to shake loose from Rowell. Up ahead now to Gallion, or excuse me, there to Forstall. And a turnover there for Uproar.
Yeah, just a miscue on that reset. Those small throws so underutilized, sometimes undervalued, but
that one put up into space, and caught with the D is Annabelle Lapp. As you can tell, both these sides are not bashful about the deep ball. And immediately put into the end zone, just out of her reach.
Yeah, Haig not able to come down with that one. Rowell maybe rushing it a little bit, trying to honor that open space that Haig had created. But again, we're in a point that has a lot of turnovers. It's a lot mentally to stay in these points when you've had turnover after turnover. So here we are, Portland, 70 yards to go, trying to work their way down the field.
Looking for the around. This one put up, dangerous spot, floating right into the hands there of Leon Gettin. And then ushered out of bounds there for the turn. Once again here with Portland Uproar in front of their own end zone.
Yeah, this is hard for me to watch as a coach because I just want to take them aside and say, take the easy reset. Make it easy for yourselves. Keep working through those handlers. But again, making it so hard, being swarmed, and then putting up something really difficult, allowing those blocks. The handlers are just not able to move it against that defense.
Roberts coming in the fray. Gets a D of her own. Now on a big around down the sideline, tiptoeing and secured there for Colleen Milligan.
Yeah, Milligan with another great score. That player is running all over the field. That's a Carleton hold, their first point in this second half, and only the second point of this half. Really grinding and gritting our way through each and every point in this. You can see that beautiful around throw from Rowell. Rowell, one of the few players on Carleton who's really utilizing that around. I hope that other players take note because that is exactly how to step through the mark on that backhand throw. And that receiver on the break side with absolutely no one to challenge.
Yeah, Rowell, they put it on a absolute platter there on the around. And it was picture perfect right into the hands there of Milligan. So 9-7 is your score. The Portland Uproar up over Carleton College Eclipse. Eclipse getting one back. Now they need a much needed break here to get back into this contest.
Yeah, I don't know that I have anything to say that I haven't said before. We're just looking at these teams, trying to see who's going to make this next score. Portland could certainly use the hold here. I'm sure that Carleton's coaches have talked to them about trying to get a break. As the sun goes down, you'll see those shadows start to lengthen. Players already starting to shade their eyes as that sun angle makes it a little bit more difficult to read the Frisbee as it flies through the air.
Swung over there to LeBar. Now over the sideline. Oh, and that one is denied there by Roberts.
Exactly what Carleton wanted. They wanted to get this, taking a timeout in this to try to cement the break.
So smart, heady play there from Carleton College, getting the quick D, calling a timeout, perhaps to maybe even go into an end zone look immediately.
Yes, I mean, both teams have struggled with their red zone, which is the 20 yards outside of the end zone. As you get closer, the field gets smaller. Players usually electing to have this, and that was just a great movement, and then a block. Jumps up and says, no.
Just a complete shutdown of the disc defensively right there with the big swat by Roberts. If you're coming into this end zone set, Katie, what kind of play are you looking for if you're an Eclipse player?
If I'm an Eclipse player, hopefully their end zone set has isolations. They clearly have players that can get open and are willing to make big bids. But if that first look isn't there, I hope they look into their dump set and get the disc moving. Holding the disc is not serving Eclipse at the moment. Also, that stack looks very far away from that thrower. Maybe they're trying to make more space, or maybe they're just deeper. It's hard to tell what they're trying to do, but I think this may play into the hands of Portland with all that extra space. Dorr, such an experienced player of creating poach blocks, looks like they're going to come mark.
Dorr standing a little bit taller, has a little bit more reach. Going to be there on that mark, and Watoka immediately just going to poach in the lane. Has an open reset here for Eclipse under Brooks Kahn. Watoka really poaching in that lane, trying to take it away. Now this one, a jump disc put up in the air and not able to read it. A turn there for Eclipse on the goal line.
Yeah, this is a gift for Portland. Portland immediately goes deep with a huge backhand hook. Read, by Door, but just not able to reel it in as it goes back over their shoulder.
Yeah, one of the few misreads we've seen all day here from Door. That one, and gets a little bit of a hand block, but it's continued up the field. Eclipse looking to roll. And looks like that one.
A block.
Yeah, that one was blocked there on the other end. Wasn't really sure what had happened, but a turn nevertheless. Up ahead now to Kruger.
A pick called upfield. May go back to Watoka. There it goes.
So trying to straighten things away.
Yeah, discussing what stall this is going to come in on. I was going to say I'm so impressed with Portland's defensive intensity. Really getting good blocks there.
Inside there to Door. On the outside, reached and caught, floating into space and secured for the score there by Hanley. 10-7 Portland.
That is a big score. That was such good movement from Portland, moving the disc efficiently and then putting that slightly bladey forehand throw just to where Hanley's reaching hands were. The defender slightly overplaying. And you can see there how the defender wishes they had taken a slightly different line. Hanley reading that disc beautifully.
Yeah, that was a nice and pretty put up ahead by Birchnall. So that brings the lead back up to 3 here for Portland Uproar over the Carleton College Eclipse.
Yeah, Eclipse is going to want to have an efficient hold here. They need to, if they're going to stay in this game. We have only 17 minutes until we hit the soft cap, which is our time cap for this round. You can't just let people play forever. We have more games that we need to see on these fields. I don't know. I feel like I can start to feel a little bit of tension and stuff from this Eclipse sideline. These coaches are conferring on the sideline, talking. Their players just need to make it happen. Portland, on the other hand, looking to continue their defensive showcase.
Yeah, they have been putting it on here in the second half. It's Brooks Kahn centering there to Emily Hall. Hall surveying, almost a poach look for Uproar, still in a person defense. This one floating in the middle for Brooks Kahn. She's running out of options, finally finds Rowell. And just off the fingertips there, Brooke Kahn. Opportunity now for Uproar to make it more and add to their lead.
Watoka walking over to the disc.
And around. And the lap. Just turfing that one and not able to get enough on it. Now Rao, immediate backhand in the air. Watoka battling with Hall, and Hall rips it out of the sky.
Yeah, holding the disc, stall count rising.
Hall running out of options, finds Rowell. Rowell up ahead and up line to Hall. Hall the around backhand, and that one is caught and a score there for Laura Kiernan.
Yeah, that's exactly what that Syzygy, Syzygy, that was the game I called before this. This is Carleton-Eclipse. That is exactly what Eclipse wanted, that hold. Their offense finally starting to flow. Almost had a stall there after Hall caught that deep throw, but finally found an outlet and then went to the break side and break again for that score. I really love Rowell's around backhands. They're showing such poise with those throws, stepping out, really making it easy for their teammates to get those discs.
Yeah, and that's just a tough matchup there for Watoga. Better positioning there from Emily Hall, really boxing out and using her body to shield the defender away and then securing the deep catch.
All right, here we go. Back within 2. Portland to receive. They're going to want to hold here so they can, again, show off their defensive abilities. If I was Carleton, I don't know. I think I might be trying a zone. I might be trying something different. What do you think, Atakale?
Yeah, you got to shake things up. Maybe a little bit of a junky look coming out defensively, kind of catch them off guard. You know who their gunners are. You know they're going to want to get it from Watoga there to Door or Galleon in the fray.
Yeah, I got to do something different to try to stop this deep game.
Disc being moved around. Dangerous pass to the sideline.
And they do come down in a zone.
Door there immediately sends a blady flick in, but positioned by Galleon. Now Galleon down the line. Will it stay in bounds? And no, it will not. That one just tailing out of bounds.
Yeah, Galleon did such a good job to box out their defender, and then just, even though the receiver was so open, just letting it push out. Maybe that wind you spoke of earlier is finally starting to show up.
And
oh no!
Just taking her eyes off the play. Missed there on the clap catch. A blade into the end zone for Door. She wants more. 11-8 Portland.
Yeah, another Watoga to Door connection. Door so hungry for those scores, padding that stat sheet, really looking to attack. Really brilliant job. I love the parents on the other sideline cheering their hearts out, showing their little rally towel action. I feel like maybe that's the mom you're embarrassed of, but so the mom that you're secretly super excited to have cheering for you.
You gotta love the faithful supporters here for both sides, and really all the supporters have come out here this weekend to watch their teams play. And Door has been filling up the stat sheet here today, along with Watoga. You've gotta love it. I mean, if you're playing D3 Women's Fantasy Ultimate, you've got to have those two on your team.
Yeah, Door has such explosive speed. She's such a tall receiver, such good hands, continues to make good positioning blocks.
She reads the disc well as
well. Big throws, certainly a player that you're going to have to plan for if you end up matching up against this Portland squad in the final. Here we go, looking again, Watoga set to pull. This Portland D-line is hungry for a break.
Nice pull there from Door. Emily Hall centered. There to Barton. Barton immediately sends one down the field into open space. Now up ahead and can't secure the disc. It's $1 million play there, but just a 99-cent finish, not able to get it to go.
That was a good one. Good one, Atakale. Yeah, Watoga to pick up. They have 70 yards to go.
Oh, very close to a Callahan. Offense will dictate, but they're going to talk things out here. Let's take a listen.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah.
What did you call? Yeah. Cool. 1 sec.
This is a back-breaking decision here.
Yeah, it looks like the observer's conferring.
It was a tie, so the tie's going to go to the offense.
I think that that's a fair call. That is exactly what I saw from my vantage point. Although that observer, I believe that's Vincent Chang, really good job also of officiating for the WUL and many other things. A really experienced observer.
Galleon looking up the field. Watoka with the disc. Now sends one down, battling and ripping and winning the battle. Then immediately guns deep.
Oh, that was a little scary, those angles.
Completed there for Eclipse. Now working down the field and just missing out on an opportunity, turning the disc right before the end zone.
Yeah, Carlton being let down by those dishes. They get it so close to the end zone and then can't reset it.
Up ahead here for Galleon. Galleon secures. Now trying to work with an isolation. Finding Watoka. Now up ahead there for the score is Mallory Body. And she's in and gonna do a little dance too to celebrate. Portland is pouring it on right now here in the second half, 12-8.
Ooh, that was a little scary. We had the almost Callahan, big plays going both directions. I think that both teams have those a little bit scary with their resets, those short throws. Sometimes we take them advantage for granted because we expect these big throws coming out of Watoka, but those small ones are just as important. A pass is a pass, and Galleon doing a really good job to signal to her teammates, create possession, and then this score, very aware of where that player stood, right on the end zone line. The observer immediately signaling inbounds. You can see another angle here. Great work with the drone. I love those drone shots.
It's such a pretty vantage point, especially when you launch an offense, work it down the field, use 15, 20 plus passes. You get to see it really how efficient Ultimate is played.
Yeah, I also love it as a coach because you get to see where the play develops from, all those angles of the deep cutters that sometimes get cut out from our wide angle from this sideline camera viewpoint. From a teaching standpoint, I deeply appreciate this drone footage. We have another pull, Portland looking to get another break.
As Rowell fields the disc. Brooks Kahn swings over to the sideline. A little bit high, but secured there by Milligan. Milligan needing some help. Brooks Kahn dancing in the lane, finally breaks free. So far, an excellent job. They're downfield for Portland. That one put up, but can't get underneath it. A turn for Eclipse.
Yeah, Portland's defense on the handler is just creating a lot of turn opportunities for them. And then they are immediately off to the races, door under, and then putting it deep. Two players in the area. Maybe some contact, but it looks like Hanley caught that disc.
And looks like that's going to be a score, I believe, for Mallory Bodie right there.
Yes, maybe Bodie. It was hard to see, but that player going down and then popping back up.
Almost an and one right there in the end zone. Able to take the contact and secure the score, adding to the lead for Portland. They're up 5, 13-8. This one's starting to get a little bit away here from Carleton College. We show you a replay of that last score.
Up, down, both players going down. It looked like an injury, and then after that clip, which you couldn't see, they just pop back up as if to celebrate that great grab.
And great job there by Bodie to keep the disc alive. You know, you took the contact, went down to the ground, and she didn't let go of the disc. Kept it alive there for her team.
Yeah, a little bit, maybe too much contact. I think it's hard to see sometimes when you have that many players trying to make a play on the disc. It's hard to be aware of that much of the area around you.
Now, what do you think's going on here in this Eclipse huddle?
It doesn't look like much. It looks pretty silent. The players, the coaches have stepped out. They're conferring with each other, and now they're starting to cheer. Both of these teams, as we talked about earlier, having very small squads, very small sidelines, and I think that the sideline is really what's going to keep players in this game. They need help on those heads-up calls. They need some help with that energy. It seems like both teams trying to use this chance of a timeout to amp themselves up into this game. Again, this would be, I think, their last round today. Nothing else to say before you have one more sleep before the next game, or you have an entire sleep to reconcile with the end of your season.
You see is that timer kind of scrolling down there, about 4.5 minutes until soft cap. Right now, 13-8 is your score. Uproar on top of Carleton College Eclipse.
Yeah, time's starting to run out for this Carleton side. They're going to have to punch in several throws very quickly in order to stay in this game. Yeah, you can see all of those players beginning to shade their eyes. The angle of the sun starting to be a factor in this game.
And beating down, a lot different than earlier this morning when it was a nice cool weather. Disc will be centered to Brooks Kahn.
Looks like a poaching defense again from Portland.
And around into Hall. Hall selling some fakes, really needs an outlet. They're forcing to the sideline. And a big D by Gallion in the space. Great sportsmanship to make sure Hall is all right. And it will stand as a turn, going the other way in Portland's favor.
Yeah, that was really a great D from Gallion. There's a little bit of a tangle after the D occurred, which sometimes happens with players.
Trying to work it up the line, and that's going to be tough. You've got to put that out in front of Watoka. Can't make it a jump ball.
Yeah, Watoka definitely not taller than her defender there.
That one is secured and caught. Thought about sending it deep. Up the line, just out of the reach there of Roberts. So back the other way. And Watoka trying to find Gallion, a little miscommunication there in the cutting. Gets centered to Turk. And running through for the D, there is Barton.
It looks like there's a player down, but that's not the first run through the D we've seen from Barton this game. Really able to use their speed well. I think that this is an occasion where coaches are going to go on and get, I didn't see the collision, but it does look like that player is grabbing the back of their head. We do take any sort of head or concussion injury very seriously.
Let's hope. I believe Emily Hall is okay there for Eclipse.
You have a radio? Trainer on field 13, please.
Yes, the observers are signaling that they're going to call for a medic, so we may have a little bit of time in this game to make sure that that player is okay.
So any takeaways here in the second half so far? So we're going to take a short breather. We'll come back with those takeaways here in a bit, right here on Ultra.
The last 50 years have seen a lot of positive change
around a whole range of important issues.
And some things remain reassuringly unchanged.
Like the spirit of our game.
Ultimate is 50 years young
and still a perfect circle
of fair play,
athletic pursuit,
and camaraderie.
In fact, Ultimate was a social network
before social networks even existed.
Respetamos nuestras diferencias
and understand the value that they add.
The revolution of the disc in flight continues to prove
that there's nothing we can't achieve
when we
pull together.
Long live Ultimate.
Larga vida Ultimate.
Long live Ultimate.
As we're back here for the D3 Women's Semifinal, just tuning in, Uproar is up 13-8 over the Carleton College Eclipse. Emily Hall able to be ushered off the sideline, off to the sideline. Seems like she's all right here for the moment being, but her teammates are trying to punch it in here in the end zone. A jump disc, and running through for the D is Watoka. Now gonna step through and immediately put something up, and that one is secured down the field by Hanley. Dorr wanting the disc. Dorr needs some help. No cuts downfield. Big around into the space to Gallion. Watoka around, backhand, dangerous, but it is put in for the score there by Hanley. 14-8 Portland.
Ooh, yeah, we came out on that point after a scary collision for Hall. We had said originally that it might be a concussion, but it looks like it was actually an ankle injury that was just very painful. They came off and are currently being seen. The run-through Ds that we've seen in this game were really great, and then finally we saw this possession saved by Watoka, starting the offensive flow. Big gainer to Hanley. And then again, Watoka to Hanley later in the point to finish it. I think there was a receiver closer, an easier reset, and Watoka says, nope, I would like to score now, please.
So it looks like in that point, soft cap went off during the injury, but regardless, it's still going to be a game to 15. Portland here with game point, an opportunity to move on to the final. But not unless Carleton College Eclipse has something to say about it. You see Watoka just has been dialing up deep balls all day. Dorr able to find Watoka deep as well. He has been a staple in this offense and defense, really.
Yeah, there are very few points in this game that Watoka didn't play, making a real impact with her very long throws. Again, looking to pull this disc. Really great play from this player, leader for this Portland team.
And to Brooks-Codd, rotating the disc around. That's going to be a little bit different here for Eclipse without Emily Hall as one of the main handlers in the backfield. Now this one sent deep into the space, and with the left hand coming down with the grab, there's Dana Freed. Freed, a lefty backhand for the score. And a little energy in the step, pep in the step of Carleton College Eclipse, 14-9 the score.
Yeah, number 25, Tess Barton, is the player who put that big throw up, followed it, made that upline cut for the score, putting in a lot of legwork in that particular point to have one of the smoothest Carleton holds we've seen maybe all game. No turnovers for Carleton on that point. Great grab after that throw, a poise on the end zone, waiting for it, holding, and finally you see that upline cut coming and easily catching it in between two defenders. Really great work there from Carleton. They will now have to break, get a D and score in order to stay in this game.
So game point here for Portland Uproar. Trying to move on here to the national final. They're going to have to do it here on O-line.
Yeah, there's some tension here on the sideline. You can see that Carleton is fighting for every point. They want to play together. We have the counting on your screen is now 10 minutes till the end of hard cap, which is like a final buzzer. No more points will be played after that point.
So good pull, put up, right to Watoka, into LeBar. Watoka down the field, sends a shot, looking for Dorr, wide open. Now Dorr going down the field there to Hanley, and that's the game, folks. Moving on to the national final is Portland Uproar, 15-9.
They are excited. That is a big win for this program. Looking to, this is breaking seed, really. Portland being the 3 seed, Carleton the 2 seed. They are proving that they are meant to be at the top of this tournament and punching their way into the final in this game. I think really in resounding fashion, we can look at these highlights. It was really the Watoka and Dorr show, with highlights also from Hanley and Gallion, especially in the first half. Those 4 players making deep connections, great defensive plays to cement their spot here. All of those players rushing the field, and really a great effort from Carleton-Eclipse. Those players never stopped playing, as well as making very good bids. That last run through deep from Barton, I think, as a highlight. That kind of speed and awareness, making great plays from Eclipse. But unfortunately for them, their season ends here.
Yeah, I mean, just was there any doubt here in this one? I mean, early on, Portland poured it on, and I mean, it was close. It was 6-6 at one point, but just a strong performance here from this Uproar team.
Yeah, once they started having that end zone efficiency, really connecting together, they went off to the races in that second half and never looked back. I like that telephoto lens really getting right in the middle of that huddle. We're going to see if we can get an interview with one of these players, but if not, I'm just excited to see the growth of the program. These D3 schools really putting on a great game. Great players. I think that both we'll hopefully see some of them in the club scene soon.
Yeah, they played.
If they're not already there.
Yeah, they played a phenomenal game here today on both sides. Saw a lot of big-time plays. I mean, you know, some ones that stand out to me. Watoka just coming out of nowhere, run through D's. Kim Dorr in the fold as well, and Roberts. The couple of layouts we saw in the end zone, just a lot of plays both ways.
Yeah, Adekale, looking forward for Portland, what do you think that they need to do to really put in a chance at this D3 national title?
I think they just got to clean things up a little bit. You know who your gunners are, you know who the players you want to go through, but it just needs to be a little bit smoother at some points. I think it was a little helter-skelter in, you know, the middle of when they were trying to figure it out, but when it was working, it was absolutely electric to watch them play. And you could see just the amount of talent, you know, Watoka, Kim Dorr, Hanley, Gallion. It just flowed so well.
It really was. I would say the one thing I would want them to work on is their dishes. Those small, short ball throws that they had a couple unfortunate turnovers on. If they can clean that up, they will be really devastating for either the other teams to match up against. It looks like we are almost ready to bring you an interview here. They're figuring out the technical aspects of it, but I really enjoyed calling this game. It was very exciting to see growth in the sport.
Yeah, it was absolute pleasure. It looks like we're getting ready to pass it over here to Keith Rayner with Jacqueline Watoka.
Keith Rayner here with Jackie Watoka from Portland. So you just advanced into the final. You had a really tough game, but you pulled away in the end, just like you did against Occidental in the quarterfinals. What do you think has helped your team play so well in the end of these games?
I think our season has really been about building trust in our teammates. We all have our roles, we all have our strengths, and our coaches have really helped us solidify those. So whenever I need a reset, I know I can trust anyone on my team to get open. It doesn't matter if the stall count is high, someone will be open. And I think that's what has given us success, is just our trust in each other.
You jumped out to an early lead in this one, but Carleton was able to fight back and make it a tight game. When your team is discussing how to deal with a team coming back like that, what strategies are you using to try and stay out in front?
I think we just go back to our fundamentals. We trust each other, and then we know that if you're in the semifinals, you're an amazing team. No team is going to not push their hardest, so we can't take anything for granted. Every point we fought for as if it was on universe, and our coaches are really smart about when to take timeouts, recenter us mentally, physically, emotionally, and then get us back out there.
So you'll be taking on Middlebury in the championship game tomorrow. What do you do to prepare for them?
I think the same thing. We have to take care of our bodies. We take care of each other. We make sure that all of us, if we need massages, we massage each other. If we need encouraging, positive words, we do that for each other. And really, we focus on us. It doesn't matter what team we're playing tomorrow. It's another game, another opportunity, another gift, because this whole season wasn't supposed to happen. So it's truly a gift to be here, and we're going to play like that tomorrow.
Awesome. Congratulations. Good luck in the final tomorrow. Back to you in the booth.
Thanks, Keith, as we are going to take a look here at the bracket. Portland moving on to the women's D3 final there against Middlebury. And any expectations for that one?
I mean, I watched Middlebury play yesterday, and they looked in great form. It looks like they took down #1 seed Truman State. I can't wait to be able to read the recap and see what happened in that game that was happening behind us when we were focused on this one. Both teams able to have strong, deep games. I'm looking forward to some high-flying ultimate in that final tomorrow. I think that Middlebury has a very large roster, so hopefully, just like what Toka said, they can get some rest tonight, take care of their bodies, and get ready to play more ultimate tomorrow.
And just like that, Portland moving on to the final. Thanks for staying tuned here today as we show you some highlights here of this contest. If you missed out on it, an amazing win here for Portland, just all around great plays.
Yeah, from both sides, we saw big layouts, willing to grab the disc. It was really just a difference of efficiency. Carlton having some small drops or miscues, and Portland able to execute on them with big throws like this to Kim Dorr. I can't wait to see more plays like this. Layout from Haig, 2 layouts from Haig, more plays like that in the next game. Really great semifinal action here at the College National Championships D3 Women's Ultimate. Thanks for staying with us.